That's one thing that should be emphasized.
Hey, this is great. What you got going on here? No, I like that chat though.
I also want to remind you that
Yaris from Toyota.
Always thinking.
Hey, this is great. What you got going on here?
No, I like that chat though.
One of the things that I've known for a long time, and I'm sure most of you know, there's so many great men in our sport. And I would just say to them, listen, I would be delighted wherever my son went to play for a number of these men. And Dom Starsia is a gentleman that I've known for many years, and I think one of the highest compliments I can pay to him is I hope, or I wish, that our team this spring could play like his teams play. Who play with a joy for the game, a joy for their university. They love playing for Dom. They love playing together, and they're just fun to watch. It's a tribute again. The team reflects the coach, and the kids who play at the University of Virginia are all about what Dom Starsia represents. Mr. Dom Starsia.
Thank you very much. I was happy to supply so many highlights for that tape, the team in orange. I think they got just about every goal we gave up in that game, but I don't mind Michael showing it at the same time. What a year for the University of Virginia and for men's college lacrosse. Acknowledging the growth of the game at the youth and high school levels, the events of this past spring remind us of the familiarity among the small group of people and circumstances still characterize the college game. I recruited Mike Kressler to Brown in 1974, and have remained friends ever since. It was certainly painful to follow closely the events of his life during the past year. At the same time, any thoughtful person in our sport was unwittingly subjected to a severe professional self-examination. When I first talked about this change the culture topic, in 2004, I referred to a talk by John Danowski called Developing the Culture, which John gave in 2000. I've come to know John well in the period of time since covering him in college in the spring of 1973. As I recall, Brown won a close game over Rutgers, as a matter of fact. Now, Michael's had his life turned upside down, and John has been asked to fill the void at Duke as both a parent and a coach. I find myself humbled by the events of this past year, both by those that occurred off the field and received so much national attention, and even by the performance of my own team throughout this past season. I want to be careful not to sound as if I'm preaching to anybody today. I've always been very skeptical of coaches who seem to know all the answers because they've won some games. Success is a Choice by Rick Pitino, published while he was the head coach at Kentucky. It seemed an awfully pretentious title to me, and I often wondered why he did not choose to succeed when he was leading the Boston Celtics. Does just barely wide right really make Bill Parcells more of a worthy sage than Marv Levy? Well, what I'd like to do today is simply tell you a story about some things that have happened to me, especially during these past 14 years at Virginia. 2007 will be my 33rd year coaching full-time at the college level. During that time, I've been inspired by watching Richie Marian's Cornell teams in the late 70s, by watching Dick Garber listen to him talk about doing things right, by Roy Simmons' convention version of the I Have a Dream speech, by the precision of Bill Tierney's themes, by many of the high school and college coaches here in the audience. I took all these influences with me to Virginia 14 years ago and began to apply them in this new setting. I now see this period of time in two segments: the moderately successful first 6 and the slightly improved version of the past 8. It was interesting to have Jamie Monroe, now the Denver coach who played for me at Brown, recommend Jim Collins' book about the development of successful business models, titled Good to Great, to me a few years back. The title would have been a way too pretentious description of what I'm trying to say, but there are reasons why we went from being pretty good to a little bit better. And it's reassuring to read that we had unwittingly gone through some of the steps as described in Collins' essay. I'll try and take you through some of the events and subsequent actions that have contributed to this transformation. Virginia had a losing record, missed the NCAA playoffs the year before we arrived, and we got back there my first season. In my second year, in 1994, we came out of nowhere late in the season to upset North Carolina and Syracuse, and to get to the final game versus Princeton. Down late in the game, we roar back to tie it and went to overtime, but we lose the first face-off in the game. I was crushed momentarily, but felt that this was just simply the first of many opportunities to capture the crown. It was just a matter of next year, or certainly the year after that. But we continued to work hard, began to identify a style of play, a rhythm on the field, had some talented teams, some great kids, returned consistently to the Final Four, got back into overtime of the championship game 2 years later, but never got the win. We used to agonize trying to think of other areas in which we could improve. Our business is essentially about building a better mousetrap, a more efficient drill, a better extra man, more bench presses, recruiting better players, etc. How are we going to get better yet in order to win this trophy we all coveted? I think I assumed